Julian Assange, the founder and publisher of WikiLeaks, was arrested by the British authorities last Thursday, April 11, 2019. On that day, Trump denied any knowledge of WikiLeaks' existence, although he praised it many times after it released Clinton and Democratic Party emails about a week prior to the 2016 sham election that illegally placed him in the White House. Wow, more lying from Trump. How novel. WikiLeaks helps that fool take illegal possession of the White House, and Trump has the publisher arrested. That's how Trump operates. I don't think Assange had any ulterior motives in anything WikiLeaks publishes, but I wonder if Assange now regrets releasing those Clinton emails when he did. Why weren't those emails released prior to the Democratic convention? Because Putin had the emails and wanted Trump facing Clinton so he could help Trump. Assange should have never allowed WikiLeaks to be used in such a corrupt manner. He should have released the Clinton emails either before the Democratic convention or after the presidential election. Assange's mistake with the DNC email dump was that he didn't consider the corrupt motivations behind the people who gave him the emails. Trump's Russian collusion and Assange's arrest are related events. I've heard some argue the voters had a right to the information contained in those DNC emails before they cast their votes. That voters deserve full disclosure. I couldn't agree more. So where was Trump's tax returns? Clinton released hers. Why didn't WikiLeaks publish Trump's tax returns? Why didn't WikiLeaks publish who they received the email dump from? That the emails were acquired from Russian hacking with the intent to help put Trump in the White House. Where was all this information prior to the voters casting their votes? Why didn't WikiLeaks just say, hey, the Russian government just handed us a bunch of Democratic emails, but we won't publish them until after the election because we don't want the Russians having influence over the U.S. elections. But even with Clinton emails exposed, she still won the popular vote, and the GOP had to resort to unethical tactics such as interstate cross-check, voter suppression, and rigged corporate-owned voting machines to make Trump appear to win the Electoral College. So even as corrupt as Clinton was, the voters still chose her over Trump. That should tell you just how vile and despised Trump really is. What disturbs me even more are the number of leftists and pseudo-leftist so-called independent news sources that are denying Trump's Russian collusion and are now running to Trump's and Putin's defense. You have to ask why. Why is the left now defending and supporting two of the most corrupt and vile people on the planet? I can't answer why, but I do know a con job and a cover-up when I see it. The Mueller report didn't exonerate Trump. The investigation proved the Russians helped Trump, and Trump eagerly accepted that help and obstructed the investigation. I can only respond to the fact that these so-called progressives are inexplicably siding with Trump, the habitual liar and criminal, and it disgusts the hell out of me. Wake up and stop defending these two criminals. The left is now siding with the corruption on the right. I don't see the right siding with the corruption on the left. All sides I've heard on the issue of WikiLeaks are misrepresenting and twisting the issue for political purposes, just like they do with every other issue. They're all wrong. You don't judge the truth of a news story based solely on its source. Even Fox News, CNN, and NBC News tell the truth on occasion. That's what they do. They mix truth with lies. And often, it's not so much the stories they report that's the lie, but the stories they omit and their biased editorializing that's the lie. We, the people, can't forget it's Trump who whines about the news media telling the truth about his corrupt life and character. It's Trump who uses the false cries of fake news to marginalize any and all media criticism of him and their exposure of his absurdities and buffoonery. So anyone who claims the Mueller finding of Russians helping Trump are lies have become no better than Trump himself. Are the left now going to start claiming school and mass shootings are just lies and false flags too? I don't give a damn what those crazy pro-Putin leftists have to say. I don't give a damn what those crazy pro-Trump conservatives have to say. Mueller did expose meetings between Trump advisors and Russian authorities. The Russians did hack the DNC servers and gave the contents to WikiLeaks for dispersal just prior to the election. And a little more than 3 years later, Trump arranges for Assange's arrest. And these events are clearly linked. As far as Assange goes, he's essentially already been imprisoned for 7 years in the Ecuadorian embassy, thanks to his exposing Obama administration crimes. And you can bet the U.S. under Trump used threats of economic terrorism, political sabotage, and regime change to convince the current Ecuadorian president to revoke Assange's asylum status. That's been the U.S.'s standard diplomatic procedure for decades now, and Trump is pulling the same crap in Venezuela right now. But WikiLeaks isn't a criminal enterprise. Whether or not WikiLeaks hacked government servers to gain their secrets is immaterial. The government and corporations haven't the right to keep their activities secret, and anyone has the right to acquire those secrets any way they possibly can, short of blackmail and murder. The crime is the secrecy, not the discovery of the secrets. And with the possible exception of during a legally declared war, this applies between countries as well as within countries. We all possess the human right to acquire these secrets by any means, and WikiLeaks and any other entity has the human right to publish them. This leads to the problem of authenticity, which makes open and honest government and international relations even more essential. Secrecy has no place in government, business, or any criminal activity. As far as I can tell, Assange has impeccable integrity, but his character has nothing to do with his right to publish what's in the public interest. And the public has a right to know about the activities of those elite who decide and implement policies of social importance. But he was duped. He allowed the information he was given to favor one criminal over another and to unethically influence a political outcome. This resulted in putting into our White House one of the most corrupt corporate criminals and liars in American history. Many GOP pundits are defending Assange, but it's not because they so fervently defend the freedom of the press, but because his actions helped put a Republican in the White House. In reality, the elite on all sides hate Assange because of the threat he and WikiLeaks poses in exposing their secret corruption and secret activities. If the elite had nothing to hide, they wouldn't only welcome this exposure, they'd have no secrets of public importance to expose. So they fear Assange and other whistleblowers like him, and they fear WikiLeaks and any similar whistleblowing organization. And they want him in prison and WikiLeaks shut down. Assange and WikiLeaks publish the truth without regards to political bias. But that in itself can lead to more corruption when that information can be manipulated and exploited to the advantage of a corrupt opposition. However, overall, WikiLeaks stands for freedom of information, and for that alone, they've become an essential ingredient in the fight against corruption worldwide and should be exalted and applauded for their efforts. They just need to more carefully consider the immediate negative consequences of the timing of the release of some of the information they publish. Assange needs to be freed as soon as possible. This is the equalist position on the WikiLeaks issue. Equalism denounces government and corporate secrecy and fully supports a free, honest, and unbiased news media to expose any secrecy or corruption. So join the equalism movement and fight the fascist elite on the right and left who divide us and lie to us. And, as always, resist, refuse, revolt.